Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Rucci. Today we're chatting a lot about originality and just really honing in on your own authenticity, especially in a world full of noise and copycats, and how to really focus on your traits, your personality, and your ideas in a way that helps you grow. Now, it's to no one's surprise that many of us feel like things have already been done, everything's too saturated, there's no room for us in whatever market we might be interested in, but that is not true at all. If we really stop and think about this world that we live in and the way it's so interconnected now, especially with this digital world, social media, AI, the rapidly advancing technology. When all of this came out, it was definitely a tool that we used to our advantage. Slowly but surely, a lot of patterns have played out where people have unintentionally created algorithms in their own lives or their own thought patterns that lead them to think they're not enough, they're not worthy, or there's just no room for them in the space that they want to grow. There are so many opportunities, places, and people that we ourselves have not encountered yet, and we may never even encounter because our world is so vast, and the bubble that we create either in our minds or on our social algorithms or even just in our day-to-day lives is not necessarily authentic or representative of what the world actually has to offer. There's truly room for everyone when we really focus in on what makes us unique from other people. As a content creator, for instance, if I'm trying to emulate everyone else around me through my work, through the way that I speak and the way that I present myself, there's probably going to be a limited amount of space for me at a table when every other person pulling up to that table is the exact same. But alternatively, if I'm honing in on my individuality, honing in on my originality and authenticity and how I'm unique and different from those around me, and really just allowing that to guide me forward, then who's to say that there isn't room for me when everyone else at this table also has their own unique edge and flair? Whether it's through books or snippets of podcasts that I've encountered, I have come across this message so much lately, and that is that it's not always about who's doing things the smartest way, the best way, the most polished way, but it is oftentimes, especially in this day and age, about one, who's doing things the loudest, and two, who's doing things at all. So a lot of the time we get so fixated on putting our best foot forward or making sure we're perfectly ready for that opportunity that we've dreamt up. But 99% of the time, we will not get there unless we are willing to take the leap and actually try things. We're willing to fail in front of others. And it's so easy to keep holding yourself back from taking action, but I've touched on this in a few videos on my channel already. So much of this is just about the action, not the rumination. Even for myself, for instance, I have not been as consistent as I'd like on YouTube in a while, and it's been something that I've been wanting to put myself and my ideas and skill set towards for a very long time. I just haven't stepped up to the plate because there's been this looming fear of how long it's going to take me to grow or whether my content will resonate. That is the fear talking. That is the lacking discipline talking, honestly speaking. And that is the expecting motivation to trump my lacking discipline that is talking. If I let myself fall into those emotions, I would not be here filming right now, because there are a lot of times where you feel like you're just not equipped to do the thing. But on the other side, you realize that doing the thing is what makes you equipped. So here we are. And our worry of being ready or our worry of being perfect or good enough is very, very subjective. We are basing all of these things on our own personal definitions of success, our personal definitions of what is perfect or good or ready. We are all just stopping ourselves and stopping our success and stopping our progression for no real measurable reason. We're just worried about what others will think, so we don't even try. But remember that the trying itself is such a strong, powerful, and progressive move that even just doing that will make you feel and make you seem more ready to yourself and to others. So this concept of doing things with originality and doing them well oftentimes is just a combination of one, being willing to take action, and two, understanding yourself, your skill set, your experience enough to know what makes you different from those around you that helps you stand out. And this is obviously not only with respect to content creators or people in the creative space. This is also relevant whether you're in the medical space, you're in the academia world, really anything. It's so important to know what makes you unique from those around you, a unique set of experiences, just a unique background story. Your individuality, your personal experience through life and your journey through life is what makes you you and no one else. Now, going back to taking action, many a times we have these great ideas, whether they're shower thoughts that we ruminate over or we jot them down in our journals or notes apps. We have these ideas that make us feel really impassioned, and we can delve into into so deeply, but we're fearful about the action part. We worry and we hesitate and we procrastinate, whether it's because of the fear of perception, the fear of being seen, the fear of failure. Ultimately, it's fear. But we do need to understand that a lot of these ideas come as essentially downloads. Whatever you believe in, whether it's the universe or spirituality, God, whatever it might be, I personally believe that we have a higher power, whatever it might be, looking down on us and really just planting these ideas, planting these seeds whenever the time feels fit and whenever we have the capabilities and qualities that are needed to enact this idea and really bring it forth to our 3D world. So we are given these ideas in the forms of downloads. Whether or not we act on them is really up to us. But I can assure you that these downloads are not just limited to us. An idea that comes to you is likely to come to someone else. It really just comes down to who's willing to, one, dive into it deep and dive into it quick. So act on these ideas, act on these downloads, really think about them, understand why you might have gotten them, and understand how you can bring them out into our reality and have them be your ideas, or at least claimed as your ideas, before they make their way into someone else's mind. Because if that does happen, then the emotions just continue to further worsen, and we think about the guilt behind not acting on an idea soon enough and how the success that might have come out of an idea could have been ours. And really, a lot of that can be avoided if we just take action on the ideas that make us feel so impassioned. We have to really decipher resistance and inspiration here, and how often we throw ourselves into the resistance side just because it is natural human nature. It is very, very easy to fall into negative thought patterns and feel like we will fail at something versus just being willing to take the chance. Don't pin an idea as a bad one or something that you shouldn't explore further before you actually give it some time and thought. You do not have to have the perfect plan. An idea does not have to be groundbreaking in order to have success or in order to bring you joy. But truly, what will bring that and what will allow that to happen is movement, action, intention. There's also another barrier that many of us plant in our minds. I know I used to do this a lot more than I do now, and that just came from being very type A, very high performing, and generally speaking, quite anxious. Is my elder sibling syndrome showing? We expect ourselves to have these natural competencies, natural skill sets around these ideas or concepts that come to us, or just things that we've seen others do. We feel like we should be good at them, and if we're not initially automatically great at them, we give up. We really need to remember that things happen through repetition. Growth comes through exposure. It really takes time to grow a skill set. And yes, there are chances where we might try something for the first time and just have a natural knack at it or naturally be very interested. But what we're seeing online, for instance, a lot of the time is the polished outcome after all the reps have been put in, after all of the consistency has been considered, after all of the failures have been surpassed. It is so important to remember that being cringe, being clunky, being just not the best along the way is just part of the journey. It's a natural part of the process. And honestly speaking, this is what is going to guarantee you the most long-term success. Being willing to grow, whether that's in front of an audience or just in front of your day-to-day peers, and being okay with being perceived as someone who's trying. Being bad at something obviously has a very negative connotation around it. It has this dark cloud, and it makes us feel fearful and hesitant and restrained when it comes to trying new things, especially because we always feel like we have an audience now, and that makes us feel a little bit uncomfortable. But going back to my cliche video, a lot of the cliches that we are surrounded by on a day-to-day or we have heard for years and years have gained their popularity because they are so true and relevant in cases like this. You don't know if you don't try. And if at first you don't succeed, try, and try again. There's a somewhat bad rep around being cringe or imperfect or just having to put reps in. It makes us feel less than. But really, the only judgment that matters at the end of the day is your own. And the only person that you really truly have to make sure is happy with the version of yourself that you are is you. There's no one else that you spend as much time with as yourself. So feed your soul, fuel your spirit, engage in the reps, enjoy the journey. That is what this life is about. As you engage in things more consistently, you will naturally get better at them. See repetition, whether it's going to the gym consistently or focusing on a set diet or putting that time in to study material every single day. Place those repetitions in your mind as a sacred practice, not a punishment, but something that you're truly doing to fuel your future. Whether you're creative or you're an athlete or you're an entrepreneur, there are so many things that come with all of these titles that cannot be accomplished overnight. They really really do take a lot of consistency, a lot of showing up no matter your mood, really just following the plan, understanding that your motivation will not always be there, but your discipline will be, and your commitment to the craft is what will allow you to, one, enjoy the journey, and two, get to the place that you want to be when it comes to the skill set and the success with a guarantee. In fact, in this day and age, we're almost socialized to think that consistency is not a bad thing, but it's too hard, or it's something that not many of us do because short-term gratification has taken such a strong front seat. But truly, the best results, like I said, are the ones that you're working towards. It's a little bit of a long haul, but in the bigger picture and grand scheme of things, your journey, especially if you are documenting it or just doing it in front of others, allows you to gain domain authority and almost like this expert voice, because the journey of your ups and downs and ebbs and flows have been considered, and they're all part of the human experience. Consistency is essentially a quiet rebellion in a world that is stuck chasing instant results. So remember that you are very strong in order to be able to commit yourself to the consistent practice of bettering yourself every day. This also does not apply to one particular goal or grandiose task in your life. It's just about being consistent in who you are as a person, understanding your values, and doing your best to show up as that person every day, because that is what will close the gap between you and that dream version of you, and also continue to propel you forward to that dream life you want to live. So being original is something that is obviously a beautiful concept, a beautiful idea, and something that many of us really want to delve into, but it takes a little bit of practice, practicing to be yourself authentically without fearing judgment, without worrying about what others will think, so that you allow yourself to explore ideas before they make their way into the minds and hands of others, and also allow yourself to freely explore your inner child. Originality is not about being different, because in this world, so many people are trying to be different, but we all fall into similar algorithms. So all of the different is kind of trickling into the same. Originality really just comes down to being true, pulling yourself out of the programming, pulling yourself out of the matrix, so to speak, and just understanding who you are, what you want out of this life, what impact you want to have, what you want to give back, what feeling you want to give people when you are in the room, and buckle down on it. Remember, every master was once mediocre, whether that was on the financial side, the educational side, the connection side, whatever it might be, they were not in the place that they wanted to be right at the get-go. Realize it's a journey. We have many days ahead of us. We have many experiences ahead of us, and some of our best days have not even come to us yet. So I hope you keep these thoughts top of mind as you step into the world with your best foot forward, and really just allow yourself to be yourself. And remember that there are so many amazing opportunities and great ideas coming your way. You just have to be open to receiving them, and even more open to acting on them, because there are great things that you can do. It's just up to you to do them. Thank you as always for tuning in today. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss my next one. I'll be back next week, and until then, take care.